Welcome to the epicenter of a storm that has been brewing for decades. What you are seeing is not just another clash in the Middle East. It is the ultimate confrontation, a duel of shadows between two sworn adversaries who are now fighting without masks. On one side, the Islamic Republic of Iran, a vast empire swollen with ambition and theology, surrounded by a ring of fire made up of its allies. On the other side, Israel, a small but extraordinarily powerful state, built on the nerve of survival and the most advanced military technology. But do not be fooled by the calm of the night. These two shadows are not merely at war. They are engaged in a dance of death, a conflict that was once secret but is now burning in the open, threatening to engulf the entire planet in its flames. Today, in 7 parts, we will descend into the abyss of this conflict, uncovering its beginning, its current state, and the consequences that everyone, everywhere, is already beginning to feel. Stay with us, because what you are about to hear changes everything you thought you knew about modern warfare. To understand the present, we must dig into the old wound. The Iran-Israel confrontation did not start today, nor last year. It planted its seed in 1979 when a violent revolutionary wave swept away the Shah of Iran. Ayatollah Khomeini rose to power, a cleric with a vision, the export of the revolution and an open hatred for Israel, which he called the Zionist regime and the Little Satan. At first, it was a proxy war. Iran, weakened by the 8-year war with Iraq, could not face Israel directly. So, it began to weave a spider's web around Israel. Support for Hezbollah in Lebanon during the 80s, the group that would become the Army of God on Israel's northern border. Then came the Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad movements, which Iran supplied with weapons, money, and tactics. For decades, this was a shadow war. Assassinations, explosions, cyberattacks. A cold war between two hot powers, where blood was always spilled by the hand of the other. But the seed had been planted and was sprouting underground, waiting for the moment to emerge into the light. In recent years, the shadow war began to catch fire. Iran's nuclear program became Israel's existential nightmare. Then came Guardian of the Walls, the 11-day war with Hamas in 2021. But the turning point was October 7th, 2023. Hamas's horrific attack killed over 1,200 Israelis and ignited a new war in Gaza. Following that massacre, Hezbollah began firing rockets from the north, plunging Israel into a two-front war, all backed by Tehran. However, the spark that ignited the powder keg came on April 1st, 2024. Israel allegedly struck the Iranian embassy compound in Damascus, killing senior commanders of the Revolutionary Guard. It was a strike at the heart of Iranian sovereignty. For the first time, Iran could not stay in the shadows. From Tehran, Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei gave the order. And then, the world saw the unimaginable. On the night of April 13th, 2024, the sky over Israel darkened not from clouds, but from a fleet of hundreds of drones and cruise missiles, launched directly from Iranian soil. The war had emerged from the shadows. Today, both nations are in a state of open war, but they are in very different positions. Israel, the startup nation, has turned into a besieged fortress. Above it stands the Iron Dome, but it is not impenetrable. Its war economy is running at a furious pace. Thousands of reservists have been called to the front, and society lives under the shadow of sirens. But Israel has an advantage: technology, the alliance with the U.S., and, above all, the determination to survive. In this war, it is fighting not for land, but for existence. On the other side is Iran, A nation weary from sanctions, with a population that has protested against the regime, but which is now mobilized around the flag. Iran is not fighting on its home soil, but is using its strategic depth. It has an arsenal of missiles that can cover the entire Middle East and is showing that it is willing to pay the price to be the leader of the non-Arab Muslim world. But the question burning in everyone's mind is, will Israel dare to strike deep inside Iranian territory, targeting the nuclear program? And if so, how will Tehran respond? This is no longer a two-party war. It has become a battlefield where the world's greatest powers are playing. Iran is not alone. It commands the axis of resistance. In Lebanon, Hezbollah has over 150,000 rockets pointed from southern Lebanon towards Israel. In Syria, Iranian-backed militias keep supply corridors open. In Yemen, the Houthis, armed by Tehran, are blockading the Red Sea and firing missiles at Israel, threatening global trade. In Iraq, Shia militias are striking American bases. And facing them, a Western coalition. The United States has deployed aircraft carriers and defense systems, involving itself directly in the defense of Israel. Great Britain, France, and even Jordan, an Arab country, have helped shoot down Iranian drones. This is the great irony. A war that began as a regional clash is now reforging old Cold War alliances and creating new ones. Russia, on the other hand, is drawing ever closer to Iran, supplying it with technology and intelligence. The world is dividing again into two blocks, and the dividing line runs right through the middle of the Middle East. But what happens there does not stay there. The waves of this tsunami are crashing onto every corner of the world. The global economy is choking. The Red Sea, the main artery of world trade, has become a war zone. Commercial ships are forced to take the route around Africa, increasing transport times and causing inflation worldwide. The price of oil has skyrocketed, burdening the pockets of everyone, from Europe to the Americas. But more importantly, this war is bringing back the nightmare of global terrorism. The words jihad and holy war are echoing again in radicalized mosques in the West. Governments from Canada to Australia are raising their alert levels. Social media has become a second battlefield, with disinformation and hate speech escalating tensions between communities. At the UN, the Security Council is paralyzed, with Russian and Chinese vetoes blocking any resolution against Iran. The world is watching its institutions fail in the face of a crisis spiraling out of control. And now here we are, on the brink of the abyss. What we are witnessing is not an ordinary war. It is a game of poker with the fate of humanity. If this war expands, if Israel decides to destroy Iran's nuclear infrastructure, then Iran could pull the entire axis of resistance with it. That would mean a total regional war. Thousands of rockets over Tel Aviv, Haifa, and Eilat every day. American troops involved in ground combat. Hezbollah invading the Galilee, and the Houthis strangling the global economy. But the alternative is just as dangerous. If Iran manages to get the bomb, the balance of terror is broken forever. A nuclear Iran would redraw the map of power in the world, sparking a new arms race across the Middle East, with Saudi Arabia and Turkey likely seeking the same capability. Meanwhile, the world remains hostage. Every tick of the clock brings us closer to an unimaginable future. In this war between Iran and Israel, there are no potential winners, only different degrees of catastrophe. What is being decided now is not just the border of a state, but the fate of an entire region and the stability of a world gasping for air. I leave you with this question: will we find a path to salvation, or are we walking blind towards a precipice?